The need was clear before COVID. It's just stronger now.
Tonight, more money coming for young people suffering from mental health issues.
The idea is that they come in, warm up, we get them some donations, some warm clothing, some food hopefully.
Plus, a helping handout of the Winnipeg cold. Good evening, I'm Priscilla Wolfe. The federal government has appointed Jennifer Moore-Rattray as a ministerial representative. She will develop recommendations to create an ombudsman's office. It will oversee progress on the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls' calls to action. The announcement made by Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Mark Miller was made late Tuesday afternoon. The Ombudsman was a recommendation by the final report of the inquiry into murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls delivered in June 2019. Rattray is a member of the Peepee First Nation in Saskatchewan. Warming up against the Winnipeg winter is a constant struggle, but now thanks to teepees being set up, things just got a bit easier for the city's unhoused population.
When you drive across Winnipeg, it's really, not uncommon to see relatives living in bush shacks in this weather, and it's just so cold.
When the freezing winter wind strikes, most people can't wait to get inside and warm up. But not everyone is able to, and the results can be tragic.
That was one of the big things that we were really worried about. Was we wanted to get this up as soon as we can to try to reduce as many casualties as we can, because unfortunately, there already has been some.
River Neepanak Fontaine is one of the many volunteers setting up a warming teepee in downtown Winnipeg. He is a member of Initiative, a non-profit grassroots youth organization that plans to erect the teepee twice a month this winter. He says this location is one of the hot spots for those left out in the cold.
We're setting up some teepees today, and we're going to have a warming space for our community to come down and be able to access some of the facilities in the area. The idea is that they come in, warm up, we get them some donations, some warm clothing, some food hopefully, and then we try to get them into one of the shelters or try to get them somewhere where they can be safe for the night.
For folks who call Winnipeg home but are without shelter, this teepee can represent safety in the harsh environment.
The teepee is really important to our way of life. Within that teepee, each teepee pole represents a virtue of how to have a very healthy home. And so the Mickey Wop, the teepee, represents all the virtues of a healthy home.
With the help of other Winnipeg organizations like the Sabe Peace Walkers and End Homelessness, Raven Hart, a volunteer and action therapist, says a community effort is exactly what this community needs.
It's just a really great way for us to come together as a community with our youth and do something really positive for our relatives and practice that lateral kindness and that lateral empathy. Take care of each other, have a warming space, a place where we can ceremony, where we can sing songs and share food together.
And though the climate can create an even more difficult situation for our relatives living on the streets, Hart believes that the teepee can heal through love.
We wanted to make sure that while we were setting up this beautiful Mickey Wop, this beautiful teepee, that we brought that really good medicine, that healing medicine, and one of our healing modalities is laughter. And so we wanted to make sure that we brought that love and that laughter and that humor, and that we're putting all that beautiful energy into raising up this teepee. We'll be singing songs, we'll be saying some prayers, and we're going to have a sacred fire tonight to take care of our relatives.
Sav Jonesa, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
If you would like to help out with their cause, Initiative is looking for donations of firewood, blankets, or any other warm clothing that you may be able to provide. You can contact them on Facebook or through email at communitycarecamp@initiative.org. The federal government announced $7 million in funding Tuesday morning. It will go to youth mental health programming run by the YMCA. It's targeted at young people aged 13 to 30 who may be experiencing moderate to mild anxiety and depression. Samantha Hartley-Foles is with YMCA Vancouver. She says the WISE programming is tailored to meet the needs of individual communities, including Indigenous ones.
The need was clear before COVID. It's just stronger now. And where we can meet youth where they are in our communities through partnerships like we do with Mind Medicine, where we're working with Indigenous serving organizations, that trusted people within communities, whether it's within a Y, it's within a nation, it's within another community organization. It's just so critical.
Residents of one small Nunavut community are on edge as two of the community's 3 churches caught fire over the course of 4 days. Kingite is located around 30 minutes west of Iqaluit by air. Nunavut RCMP say that at 6 a.m. on January 6, they received a report that the Living Water Church was on fire. Then on January 9th at around 6 a.m., the St. John Anglican Church was also reported as being in flames. The RCMP say they are investigating both incidents. Neither building was completely destroyed, but both were seriously damaged. We want to hear what you think. Here's how to continue the conversation. Send us your emails to news@aptn.ca. Leave a comment on aptnnews.ca. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. Quebec is grappling with an unprecedented number of deaths caused by opioid overdoses. More than 500 people died of suspected opioid and other drug overdoses between October 2021 and September 2022. Quebec's coroner's office recorded a 25% increase in the number of overdose deaths during just the first year of the pandemic. There are also new substances more powerful than fentanyl circulating on the black market, which is contributing to the crisis. And Ontario's provincial police is warning of a highly potent and potentially fatal strain of illicit opioids that may be circulating in Simcoe County and the District of Muskoka. 4 people lost their lives last week from suspected opioid overdoses. It's time for a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. In-News surgeon Stanley Volant is a man of many accomplishments. He's the province of Quebec's first Indigenous surgeon and a role model for youth. Just one of his achievements began in 2010. That's when he began a 6,000-kilometer pilgrimage to promote education and inspire youth. Now Dr. Volant is a recipient of the Order of Canada. Daryl Stranger spoke to him earlier this week to talk about the honor.
Dr. Volant, thank you so much for joining us here today, and congratulations. How did it feel to hear the news of the appointment?
I'm feeling very happy. I was a bit surprised. I didn't thought I'm going to be named to the Order of Canada now, and I was very surprised and very proud of myself, and also very proud of who I represent, and that the young people of my village, young people of my nation, the Innu Nation, can look at me as a role model, and one day they can be named as at the Order of Canada. So I'm very happy of that.
Now, you're being recognized for your career as a surgeon and for inspiring youth, like you mentioned. Why is that so important to you, Doctor?
For me, it's a trail that I took 40 years ago when I entered medicine. I wanted to become a guy that's going to change the path of my nation, to be a role model for the youth, and never thought I'm going to be named at the Order of Canada one day, but I took this path. And people told me that it was very important for them. I became the first Innu surgeon. I became one of the first Innu physician in Quebec. That was in '89 and '94. And for me, it's just a motivation to continue on that path. I'm still working as a surgeon. but one day I would like to take more time to go back again in my among the youth of my nation, to help them to never give up, to never give up on their dreams, and to be proud of who they are, to be proud of to be Indigenous people. And so it's just motivation to continue on that path.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. And when you look back, is there anything in your career that maybe stands out to you and brings the most satisfying memories?
Well, I remember my granddad that passed away many years ago. My emotion told me, my son, you have to go to school to have education, to learn the language of the non-Indigenous people, to learn their science, their laws, and to come back and to defend the territory of Netassinan, the territory of my tribe that was stolen, that was break down by Hydro-Québec, and to give the pride that we have lost. And for me, my mom passed away in 95, my Kokum 95 also. I think they are very proud of what I became, and people of my village still look at me with a lot of pride, and I think a lot of people are very happy what I became today. And my path is not finished yet. There's many years in front, and I'm still very engaged to continue and to do more for my nation.
Well, Dr. Vallant, during your travels over the years, you've spoken to hundreds of Indigenous kids and youth in the communities. What's been that interaction like for you when you see those kids?
I remember when I was 5 years old, a grand chief, when that grand chief came to my village, and he talked to us, and he told us that it's very important to get our education and to get back to our community, to help our sisters, brothers, and mothers and dad to build up a better community. I remember this guy, and for me it was, I would like to give the same thing that this Grand Chief gave to me. It was a Grand Chief Max Louis that passed away 2 years ago in Quebec, in Wendake. And when I'm saying those kids, I'm just want to inspire them to give them the chance they can succeed, and they can succeed in their dreams. And I received many letters now from the youth I have met throughout the years that said, "Thank you, Dr. Vallant. You have made a big change in my life." And I started to trust myself, and I continued the path of my dreams, and I succeeded. So for me, that's the most rewarding when I see those kids. It's the fact that maybe I make a difference.
Well, Dr. Vallant, that's a great way, I think, to leave our conversation. I want to say thank you, Miigwech, for coming on and speaking with us. And again, congratulations.
Miigwech, Tinishkamaten.
It's time for another break. We will return shortly. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Today's photo was sent in by Julian Tuga, a beautiful winter sunset over Winnipeg, Manitoba. Please keep those photos coming in. How are you taking in the winter weather? Send in your photos to be featured as our photo of the day. Email them to share@aptn.ca. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. For the weather, we'll start on the East Coast. It is -6 in Charlottetown, -3 in Halifax, -5 in Nain, and -15 in Cartwright. -11 in Quebec City, and -8 in Montreal. -5 in North Bay, and -7 in Ottawa. -7 in Sioux Lookout, and -4 in Elliott Lake. -9 in Pucktawagan, and -10 in Thompson. -8 in Dauphin, and -7 in Brandon. -10 in North Battleford, and -12 in Saskatoon. -9 in Stony Rapids, and -9 in La Ronge as well. Now over to the west, it is -8 in High Level and -8 in Fort McMurray too. -7 in Edmonton and -5 in Calgary. It is +1 in Bella Coola and +9 in Vancouver. +6 in Prince Rupert and 0 degrees in Prince George. -20 in Beaver Creek and -9 in Whitehorse. -13 in Yellowknife and -13 in Trout Lake as well. It is -25 in Fort McPherson. -31 in Baker Lake and -15 in White Clove. -22 in Iqaluit and -16 in Kinglet. A special evening of hockey night in Toronto happened this past weekend as the Maple Leafs hosted an Indigenous celebration game on Saturday. It was an opportunity to celebrate Indigenous contributions to society. Gordy Taylor is the Indigenous Community Relations Advisor for Hockey Equality, a charity organization that wants to make hockey more accessible to disadvantaged communities. He joined us earlier. Gordy, thank you so much for joining us. Now, you attended the event on the weekend. What was it like?
First of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your program. I've been quite aware of your program since I was a small boy. So we got invited to the celebration game of the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Detroit Red Wings. And it was set up through Kevin Ishkegawan. And he's the president and CEO of Indigenous Tourism Ontario. I met him this fall. Our sons kind of play in the same hockey teams in different divisions in Mississauga, Ontario, and I met him. And we also got help through Mark Fraser, who also works for the Leafs. He's a Maple Leafs alumni. And through the group that I work with, Hockey Equality, and we all got together. We got invited, and we invited some various kids that are part of our program and various families, and we met up with a few hundred other First Nation people that also attended the game.
Sounds like it was exciting.
Yeah, it was a great time.
What kind of things, like for events like this, what does it mean for young athletes in Indigenous communities?
I want to just backtrack you there. So I think it's all Indigenous people, not just young athletes, but I think it's everybody from 4 years old to 90 years old. I think it's great for everybody to be recognized on a stage such as the Toronto Maple Leafs game, which is on Hockey Night in Canada. As you know, it's good to get recognized, but it's good for us because we're not always included in everything, and we're trying to grow that and make it more popular for us to be Indigenous. Now, having this game meant a whole lot to myself. I've been a Maple Leafs fan since I was a kid. And I also seen other people that were there who weren't Maple Leaf fans and how proud they were to be at this game because they had the dancers on the ice. They had their land acknowledgement on the ice. They had the singers. They had the chiefs there. Everybody was there and everybody was proud. And it's good to be recognized for First Nations people all across Canada. So, I think it was just a great move by the Toronto Maple Leafs to have this.
Impressive, yes. Now, can you tell me exactly what it is that you do for Hockey Equality?
So my job with Hockey Equality is my role is a First Nations advisor. And our board is made up of different people. And I'm going to read you our mission statement here. It says, the mission of Hockey Equality is to make the game of hockey more diverse, inclusive, and accessible to all children across Canada. So what we're doing is we're working with BIPOC players to bring attention to them, to let them know that we're just as good as everybody else. And we're trying to do that because hockey's an expensive sport for equipment, ice time, etc. And everybody doesn't have all the resources to do that, being a minority. That's just the way it is, you know. So we have different groups of people. We have the First Nation people, we have the Black people, South Asians, girls, and also other people of color that want to be recognized, and they don't have the resources. So it starts from the grassroots program, and goes up to the junior development program and goes up to the elite program. And we have funds from different areas of businesses, private, and also some government funding as well. And what we do is we try and provide the ice time for the kids, the equipment, training sessions, food and nutrition, mental health, or any type of advice, schooling, etc. We also have scholarships available that are through Blythe Academy in Toronto. That's new, and we're partnered with the NHL as well.
Are there any other events that are being planned for the near future?
Yes, there are events being planned. So we're going to be attending the Little Native Hockey League. We're going to have a booth set up. We have mentorship groups throughout the year for each different category. So we have the First Nations one. We have one for the Black kids and one for the South Asian kids, and we have an all girls event as well. And because of the year's been so busy and with COVID, that they don't always run at the same time. But we have different events for each group. And this past Christmas break, we had hockey camps for about 10 days. And we're running out of Scarborough, Ontario, out of the Hockey Factory.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
A Gwich'in artist from the Northwest Territories is getting some major attention after her work was recently worn by one of the world's biggest pop stars. A dentalium shell necklace was made by Yellowknife artist Tanya Larson and was worn by singer-songwriter Billie Eilish for a Vogue digital cover shoot. Larson gave the necklace to her partner, who then gifted it to Gwich'in and Lakota model and activist Quanah Chasing Horse at a movie premiere in New York. Chasing Horse then gave the necklace to Eilish, who opted to share her cover shoot with climate activists. Larson says she's thrilled a celebrity who advocates for the environment and mental health is showing off her work.
I really hope that it encourages others to know that what we have up north, our art, our culture, is so special and is so valuable that even, people in LA who maybe never been here or who are on the radio, on television and stuff like that, want that, they desire that.
Tonight's guest on Face to Face is NHL Hall of Famer and 7-time Stanley Cup champion Bryan Trottier. He joined Daryl Stranger to talk about a variety of things, including his Stanley Cups, his impact on Indigenous youth, and his newest adventure, being an author. Trottier hopes his story can provide a little hope and inspiration. Here's a quick preview.
I was homesick all the time, wanting to go home. So I reflect in my little hometown of Belle-Marie and my parents and my family, and I think we all do a little bit. I think we can all understand that and relate to that a little bit. I also think like the achievement of dream and the power of dream is something that we all kind of would like to aspire to do. So for me, I think if it gives a little hope and inspiration and influences somebody in a positive way, that's great.
Well, that's all that we have for tonight on APTN National News. More news can be found on our website at aptnnews.ca. I'm Priscilla Wolf. I will see you here tomorrow.